If you are struggling to beat Void War, this is a comprehensive guide teaching you how to use the right weapons, the right crew, pick the right path, and beat that final boss. Let's check it out. Starting out right here, this is where the magic is made. Choose a strong commander, and I will say this, the Exile, the starting commander, is incredibly powerful. Do not sleep on this guy. You should be using him to teleport onto the enemy ship. The default ship itself is an incredibly powerful ship. Very often it will outperform a lot of the ships that you unlock later on. It has decent damage, but most importantly it has a very strong crew, and it has assault sleds, so you can invade or board the enemy ship and kill their crew because you will get more rewards, more scrap metal from the enemy rather than blowing their ship apart. Strongest ship that is available in this game, in my opinion, is the Relic Freighter, because you have this incredibly powerful Death Knight on your ship, but you are also able to teleport all of the crew in your ship onto random rooms, random systems on the enemy ship, and really wreak havoc. These Space Marine style units that you can use on this game, they are some of the most powerful units. When deciding where to go, I advise you avoid things like shrines unless you really specifically want to roleplay and get a certain type of unit. There's no real point to pass up a unvisited node, which will allow you to fight a ship more than likely, and you will be able to get more scrap, more resources. But of course you also want to line up and make sure that you are in the right path to come into contact with some shipyards in case you take any damage. You want to line up so that the merchants that you visit have either ship armaments, so that is weapons, or crew contracts, because those are the most powerful things in the game. Weapons and crew. I would actually say that crew are more powerful than weapons, so I'd prioritize crew at the very beginning. Also have your crew with abilities, especially summoning abilities, which I'll go more into later. Here we are with the default commander, the default ship. This is how we open the first engagement. No matter what you are doing, who you are fighting, teleport onto the ship and try to prioritize taking out their weapons so they don't do much damage to you. Put your commander in a room where he can duel someone. That means a room with one capacity, no one else can fit in the room, and he will make quick work of the enemy throne commander, and you'll clear that ship out and you'll get more resources than you would get blowing that ship apart. Go straight into upgrading your shields. There's a little trick you can do here if you don't quite have enough reactor points. That is where you power down your engines a little bit and then power up your shields fully, so you have 2 layers of shields, because shields are slightly better than engines at mitigating, reducing damage. So that is a good example of how to start a fight, and as you progress throughout the game you want to keep doing that, keep invading them and taking over as many ships as you can with boarding actions. Now I am going to skip ahead to the end of the game to show you what this ship looks like if you followed the correct build. As you can see, at the end of this run I have so much money left over that I am just pointlessly upgrading so that I get max points when I finish. But I was maxed out very early because I walked into danger early on and then avoided it in the late game, because you get rewarded for going into more dangerous places like void rifts, gas areas, ion storms, and other dangerous bosses. But just be careful that you don't take on the big bosses early on unless you have a very powerful ship. When you reach a shipyard, always check if your hull needs repairing. If you only have something like 3 to 5 damage, it's probably worth getting munitions earlier on. It can be quite hard to get munitions, but later in the game you get tons of munitions and they are not important. But it's very important to make sure all your rooms are manned. So constructing a machine slave, a little servitor, is a very good idea if you don't know what to do here. But because I'm about to fight the boss, I am going to repair, and I also have a ship absolutely full of crew. The priority of what makes a good crew member is firstly their health, because sustained engagements, defending or attacking, give you more reaction time to move your crew, recall your crew, or simply outlast the enemy regardless of DPS. I think this white commander is extremely powerful because it also has the second most important thing, which is spells. Spells are amazing in this game, and he starts with a summon zombie spell that they explode into noxious gas as they are rot spawn as well, some kind of death cult leaning commander. He's demonic as well, which is very, very cool. So this commander is very powerful, and he also comes with a weapon and a spell slot, so you can add something else to him. Here I've just given him flat damage Mind Bolt, which is an extremely cheap and very, very powerful spell. The Witch starts with it, so if you don't have money for the white, buy the Witch and use her because she's very good as well. The priority for build should be slowly upgrading your main systems, that is your shield, your weapons. Sensors are very important so you can see what's happening on the ship. Oxygen should always be at least 2 after the first 2 sections, because 1 oxygen, if it gets knocked off or hit with an ion, you could suffocate your entire crew very easily against some enemies that can stun lock you by using missiles. And then the engine is quite important if you don't have shields, but I recommend shields over the engine because these guys protect against the same sort of damage. Only difference is that the engine also provides cover from things like missiles. You know, the evasion protects you from missiles. Only upgrade weapons as you discover and need that capacity. When you first start combat, you should look through all your abilities and your summons included and trigger them all as soon as possible, because you will need to keep your rotation of damage up and your summons up. Try to drop in on a crate immediately with a summon if you can, or teleport in, use the assault sled, however you get into that room. So always be mindful when you have crew on the ship that you should recall them when the ship is about to be destroyed or someone's about to die. This is why I think that summoning is way more powerful than assault sleds, because you don't have to spend time micromanaging your crew and making sure you don't accidentally blast their ship too hard and blow your commander up. Your number one resource for getting ahead in the early game is to have crew that can summon. Summoning crew is the most powerful ability in the game for defense and attack. You should view summoning crew and killing the enemy crew is so powerful in this game because it not only allows you to snowball by giving you more scrap metal to upgrade your ship, but it also minimizes damage. A board or summon action on the enemy ship is what you need to quickly clear the enemy out faster than your weapons can, even at the end game, because throughout the game the enemies remain weak inside their ships. Only things like Chaos Knights or the large Space Marine-esque units are really things that you have to watch for, but you can quite easily counter it by having weapons or high DPS characters, cycling them in and out, either using a summon, a spell, a teleport, or the assault sleds, which are on the default ship. So using crew invasions not only allows you to get stronger quicker, but it is the most efficient way. Anytime you see a necromancer in the game and you don't have any on your ship, you should pick one up, even if they are only capable of casting one spell. They can also handle reagents, which will allow you to one-time consumable summon very powerful units in enemy ships, or quite weak units, but they will be able to pick up the crates that allow you to gain more resources from special ships carrying loot. Start snowballing, because you must plan ahead in this game. It is a marathon, not a sprint. Now, the other thing I will say is that you should upgrade to shield level 2 as soon as possible, almost at the start of the game basically, and then you should aim to have your shields up to level 3 at the lowest when you've passed maybe 3 or 4 sections, but when you're approaching the last 2 sections, you should have fully upgraded shields. Here, I am about to start my fight against the disciples of Ariok, the Blood Cult, who have some very powerful Blood Knights within their ship. So I am going to drop all of the saved up consumables that I have collected whilst I've been playing. I've saved them all for this moment to absolutely flood the enemy ship with summoned units so that we can disable their weapons and their shields and everything else that we possibly can. Then I'm going to start sending damage against these Blood Knights to weaken them. I'm going to use this, the Energy Lance, one of the best weapons in the game because it's a pre-charged weapon with 4 shots that avoids shields. This allows you to take down their shields very quickly, or in this case I'm actually going to head for the O2. In a long fight, taking out the oxygen room, if these guys breathe oxygen, is incredibly important because the longer the fight goes on, the more people in here are going to suffocate and take suffocation damage. Here we go, the fight starts here, keeping an eye on all of my crew as well. Just pause as you need. I've deployed my artillery and my siege beam just to do maximum damage. They are already in a crisis here. The summons are coming in, so I'm going to start summoning again. What else have we got here? Some bloat mites that will explode into gas. Good idea to put that in the medical room, so then the medical room is a gas room. It's always good to gas them if they are organics. They seem to want to protect this room very much, so it's good to drop in on that where you can. So here we arrive at the special event. I bet I'm going to be invaded. Yes, there's plenty of tentacles on the ship now. Calling in all my summons that I can to keep their shields down. Really finish these guys off now. Their mind control has played absolute havoc on me because some of my strongest units are going around destroying my own things now, so that's something to watch with this boss. And there they go. We have unlocked the Trilobite. I know this was using a later craft in the game, but I would say that actually the starter craft is stronger than this one. Follow this guide and you should beat your first run. Things get a bit different in Torment mode, and there will be a guide and a stream coming out for that later, so be sure to subscribe to the channel, and I hope you've enjoyed the guide. I'll catch you on the next one, guys.